Hey everyone, happy Monday. Um, so my time as a YouTuber and read alouder is coming to an end. I'm going to be doing a book tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday because Wednesday is our last day of school. So I've got some good books planned, and the one that I have chosen to read to you tonight is called The Man Who Walked Between the Towers by Mordecai Gerstein. This is actually based on a true story about a man named Philippe Petit. And one of the things that he did was walk across on a wire. He would walk across really, really tall buildings. And so he found the tallest in the United States at the time, and he decided that he was going to take the risk and do it. And this is his story. So I hope you enjoy it. Once there were two towers side by side. They were each a quarter of a mile high, 1,340 feet, the tallest buildings in New York City. Many of you might recognize those towers. A young man saw them rise into the sky. He was a street performer. He rode a unicycle. He juggled balls and fiery torches. But most of all, he loved to walk and dance on a rope he tied between two trees. He looked not at the towers, but at the space between them, and thought, what a wonderful place to stretch a rope, a wire on which to walk. Once the idea came to him, he knew he had to do it. If he saw 3 balls, he had to juggle. If he saw 2 towers, he had to walk. That's how he was. Hadn't he danced on a wire between the steeples of Notre Dame Cathedral above his amazed home city, Paris? Why not here, between these towers? You might also recognize this cathedral, Notre Dame, which is in Paris. Of course, he knew that, as in Paris, the police and the owners of the towers would never allow it. You must be crazy, they would say. You'd fall for sure. And so Philippe, that was the young man's name, began a plan to do it secretly. The buildings are not quite finished, he thought. Maybe if I dressed as a construction worker. Early on an August evening, he and a friend entered the South Tower. They got a 440-pound reel of cable and other equipment into the elevator, took it to the unfinished top 10 floors, and waited till nightfall when everyone had gone. Then they carried everything up 180 stairs to the roof. I really like the perspective of this picture right here, because you can see all the way down here the buildings and the Hudson River. They're up really high. At midnight, on the other tower's roof, 2 more friends tied a thin, strong line to an arrow and shot it across to Philippe, 140 feet away. It missed and landed on a ledge 15 feet below the roof. Bad luck, thought Philippe. Ooh, I don't know about you, but this is way too scary for me. I wouldn't be able to do something like this. He must be very brave. He crawled down to the ledge over the sparkling city and got the arrow. Oh my gosh. Look at that. To its line, he tied a stronger line, which his friends pulled back to their tower. To his end of the stronger line, Philippe tied the cable on which he would walk. It was 7/8 of an inch thick. So that's a little less than an inch. That's how thick the wire is that he is preparing to walk on. Another very cool picture. His friends pulled the cable over to the tower, but it was so heavy that it slipped from Philippe's grip. The cable's middle plummeted toward the street, pulling the friends on the other tower to the very edge. Philippe, just in time, secured his end. It took 3 hours to pull the cable back up. Frantically, as the stars faded, they tightened it between the towers. It was past dawn before they were ready. Now remember, they wanted to do it at night because they didn't want to get caught by the police officers. Philippe put on his black shirt and tights. He picked up his 28-foot balancing pole. All his life he had worked to be here to do this. As the rising sun lit up the towers, out he stepped onto the wire. So this picture, actually, you can see him standing on the wire way up high, and then, oh, if your stomach just did a turn in your body, you're not alone. This is pretty scary. Out to the very middle he walked, as if he were walking on the air itself. Many winds whirled up from between the towers, and he swayed with them. He could feel the towers breathing. He was not afraid. He felt alone and happy and absolutely free. So he's up so high that he's with the birds. Wow. Oh, some of my pages have gotten bent. A woman coming from the subway might have been the first to see him. Look! Someone's walking a wire between the towers! Him way up there. But that really shows you how high up he is. Remember, these are the tallest towers in New York City at the time. Everyone stopped and looked up. They gasped and stared. It was astonishing. It was terrifying and beautiful. A quarter of a mile up in the sky, someone was dancing. Police saw it too. Quarter of a mile up in the sky, guys. My goodness. Officers rushed to the roofs of the towers. You're under arrest! They shouted through bullhorns. Philippe turned and walked the other way. Who would come and get him? For almost an hour, back and forth, he walked, danced, ran, and knelt in a salute upon the wire. He's right. I don't think any of those police officers are going to come out and get him. He even lay down to rest. The city and harbor spread beneath him. The sky surrounded him. Seagulls flew under and over. As long as he stayed on the wire, he was free. When he felt completely satisfied, he walked back to the roof and held out his wrists for handcuffs. They brought him to court. The judge sentenced him to perform in the park for the children of the city. It's not usually what happens, right? He doesn't have to go to jail. He just has to perform for kids. This he did happily. Though during his performance, some boys playing on his wire jerked it and Philippe fell. Now the towers are gone. But in memory, as if imprinted on the sky, the towers are still there. And part of that memory is the joyful morning, August 7th, 1974, when Philippe Petit walked between them in the air. I love this story, and I love remembering those towers. They're a very special part of a very special city. All right, guys, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your evening. And if you're feeling brave, do something. Do something that challenges you, just like Philippe Petit.